Have you been promoted and are taking on a leadership role in your company and you're feeling a bit nervous on where to start? Or maybe you've been in a leadership role of some sort, but you aren't feeling like you're doing as good of a job as you should be. We all want to be good leaders, but what does that even mean? How do you know you're a good leader? Well, here are some stats that might shock you. According to a Harvard Business Review study, more than 80% of people believe themselves to be better than average leaders, but yet 82% of employees believe the wrong person was chosen to lead. Further, only 30% of the workforce considers themselves engaged, and 73% of people believe that the most stressful part of their job is their direct boss. According to research done by the global leadership firm DDI, 57% of those that quit their current jobs did so in large part due to their direct boss. There will always be bosses, and you might be one of them, but it appears more and more like good bosses are a rarity. So, are you going to be a good boss or a bad one? Today, I will give you 5 concrete tips on how you can become a better boss. What we're going to talk about will help you engage with your team better, drive results, and become the type of person that anyone would want to work for. Today on Know.Lead.Grow, we are going to hit 5 tips that will help you become a better boss. Now, before diving into the tips, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get more actionable leadership and self-development content. We're a new channel, and just by subscribing and liking, you help this content reach more people. So, with that out of the way, let's dive in. So tip number 1 is to define the type of culture you want to build and develop on your team and among your people. Whether you're leading a group of 1 or a group of 50, it's extremely important to give thought to the culture that you want to foster. So why is culture so important? Well, you may have heard this before, but even if so, it's worth repeating. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture is the commonalities about how a group of people function, even without supervision. A strategy can provide a plan of action, but culture is how those plans get executed, and great company cultures foster productivity and belonging simply by existing. So let's get one thing straight. You will have a culture whether you want to build one or not. A culture develops when a group of people get together. That culture could be that people stick to themselves or that they backstab each other. It could be collaboration and socializing. It could be self-development. I've worked at places where common conversations around the office are, what types of books are you reading or what are you learning right now? And I've been places where the culture is about toxic traits and trying to get out of work and be lazy. You as the leader will be one of the driving factors in defining the culture. There is already a culture that exists in your workplace. You will have a subculture on your team. Give some thought to what that means. Think through the characteristics that you think are appropriate for your team. That might be collaborative communication. It could be not shying away from difficult conversations. It could be being a highly driven and achievement-oriented team. Define the traits that you want, and then you can begin to think of ways to get that result. This is not an easy process, but you can't build something deliberate without first defining what it would look like if you achieved it. All right, tip number 2. Learn about your people. How many of you have ever had a boss who you think doesn't give a crap about you? Why did you get that idea? Was it because they never asked about your personal life, or they never cared to learn what motivates you? Or was it because you never felt heard by them, or you never felt like they listened to your ideas? If you want to successfully lead people, it's important that you take time to learn about them, what motivates them, and constantly listen to them. This is going to be harder for some of you than others. For some of you, this will come natural, and then you're going to struggle in other areas. But for a good number of you listening to this right now, you need to plan this. There are a couple strategies I teach to help facilitate learning about your people. First, if possible in your business, try to have a regular one-on-one meeting on your schedule with each one of your direct reports. This is a lot of work, but the payoff is tremendous. And during that scheduled time, make sure you set aside time to just chat about personal lives and what's going on. Know their spouse's name, or that they have kids, or how things are going at home. Once you've earned that right, obviously, and show them that you care about them. And you should care. If you're fake, they are going to know it. Don't be fake. Also, during that one-on-one time, make sure to ask them, is there anything that you believe that we need to talk about or discuss as it pertains to the business? Do this before you bring up anything that you want to discuss. And make sure to actively listen to what they say. Hear them out. Repeat it back to them. Make sure you understand. They know that you don't always have to decide to do what they say or pick what they want, but the simple act of hearing somebody, considering their opinions, and making people feel heard will begin to generate the right type of culture on your team. One thing that I've had to say to multiple leaders or managers is that people know that you are competent, but I'm not sure that they know that you care about them. Obviously, the undercurrent to all of this is make sure that it is appropriate. Do not pry into people's personal lives if that's not desired by your employees, but what is important is to find out what motivates them and show that you care about them as your boss. Number 3 is to simplify communication. And this is really, truly just an extension of number 2. Communication is the number one problem facing businesses and the number one cause of strife within a business. No one deliberately miscommunicates if they have good intentions, but oftentimes we think we have communicated something clearly when it wasn't clear at all to the people we were talking to. Communication does not successfully occur until it is received by the other party. Simply saying something does not mean that communication occurred. Sending an email does not mean communication occurred. Mentioning something once in passing does not mean communication occurred. Leaving a voicemail or having a quick phone conversation does not mean communication occurred. Are you getting my point? It means nothing unless it's received. One piece of your culture is to allow for clarity. Invite questions when you've communicated a strategy, a policy, or a procedure. Have people repeat back to you what they heard. When someone communicates with you, change their words somewhat. So in other words, repackage it. Repeat it back to them and ask if you understood correctly. Changing the words and repackaging here is really important, as you might use another word to define what they said that has a different meaning to them, and then they will correct you. It's important that you do this, and that helps you find understanding. You also need to understand how certain people give and receive leadership and communication. We are all wired differently, and we all think differently. One of the main things I do with coaching clients is run them through something called the 5 leadership voices. These are 5 different leadership voices that help define communication, help leaders understand how to best communicate with their people, and help foster working teams. The 5 voices are based off of the research behind the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and I found it remarkably effective at helping teams and individuals function at a higher level. I will actually be selling my 5-hour course on the subject coming up here in the near future, but I was thinking about offering the introduction to the 5 voices for free to some of you that are watching this video in a live session. I've done this before, it went really well, so if you're interested in a live 5 voices session for free, I'll help you discover your own leadership voice and give you some insights in that. Leave a message in the comments of the video, and if I get enough responses, I'll set it up, we'll do it for free. Number 4, create development plans for your people. No one, and I mean absolutely nobody, wants to be stuck in a dead-end job without any opportunities for growth, development, or achievement, which is why it is so vital that you help create those things for your people. You may not be able to offer a career path. Some businesses can't do that, but you can offer professional development even at a very small level. This can start by giving regular reviews to your people. Again, have those one-on-ones. Highlight what they do well and areas of improvement, and look for resources to help them grow where they need to improve. This is the type of work that separates high-performing teams from low-performing teams. When your people are improving at what they're weak at, your team's performance improves, productivity improves, and morale improves. But it takes work. It might even mean that you have to learn something yourself. It may mean that you need to invest your own money or time. It might mean that you need to bring in help from the outside, but every single employee that works for you should know what their next step is in the organization. You should know their career goals and help them know their career goals and what they're good at and what they need to improve at. Put in the effort to help lead them and provide that for them, and you will see the payoff. Lastly, number 5. Become a liberator. Now, in my coaching, I define 4 different types of leaders: abdicators, dominators, protectors, and liberators. This is called the support challenge matrix, and here's how it works. In leadership, there is always a balance of support and challenge. Supporting your people could be helping them, providing tools, being there for them emotionally, or inspiring them. Challenge is pushing them to succeed, driving productivity, and getting results. When a leader is abdicating, They are creating a low challenge and low support environment for their team. They've essentially checked out. There are no expectations and no accountability, but there's also no support and help in completing the job. Leaders that are abdicating often lead teams that are apathetic and very underperforming. A dominator is a leader that brings high challenge but low support. This is a leader who is driving for results, pushing their team to win, and holding everybody accountable, but simultaneously not providing the necessary support. Leaders who are dominators often are leading teams that are fearful of the boss or fearful of losing their jobs. They have a high pressure environment that will burn people out. They often do get results, but people don't last. And there's a culture of manipulation around trying to show who is the highest performing to impress that boss. Not totally functional. A protector is a leader that brings high support, but low challenge. This is a leader who on the surface you might want to work for. They do some of the work for you. They provide emotional and logistical support. They're quick to jump in and solve a problem, but they are also not driving results. You're not typically succeeding. They're not leading productive teams. Protector leaders often foster a very entitled workforce that assumes that it's the boss's responsibility to do most of the tasks. When a protector leader finally does require something from their people, it can feel like it came out of nowhere to them, and it builds an environment of mistrust and backstabbing. The type of leader that we all want to aspire to be is the liberator. A liberator brings high challenge and high support. There are high expectations and high amounts of accountability, but there's also high support, both emotional and logistical. The leader can get their hands dirty and work alongside their team, but they also delegate well, and they allow their team to do their job. So what type of leader are you? Plot yourself on that graph. Ask your team that question. Tell them that you want an honest answer, and respond internally to yourself to that criticism. The highest performing teams always have a liberator leader at their helm. So there you have it, 5 quick tips for becoming a better boss. Leave a comment on the video and let me know if you think this was helpful. Which of the 5 tips hit home with you the most? Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get more leadership and self-development content. If you like this video, check out one of these videos here that you also might enjoy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.